My name's Chrissy. I am from Levittown. It's a city in Long Island. I have a brother. I was born addicted to crack cocaine. My mom and my dad have both struggled with addiction throughout my whole life. My mom and my dad grew up very differently. My dad was very poor. He dropped out of school when he was 15. He had a very different upbringing than my mom. Where my mom was more privileged, she came from money. She had things handed to her. My dad had to work his whole life to help pay the bills. From a young age, I started seeking attention negatively from my mom specifically, because that's the only way I got it. My brother, like I said, was very favorite. He was the favorite, and so the light was always on my brother. And then there's me, who from a very young age got kicked out of Catholic school in 2nd grade just for being a bully. I was a very mean kid. The only way I knew how to get attention was negatively and through power and control. I started getting a lot of my ego issues and being less than or better than from when I was a child, because I was always less than my brother. So outside of the house is where I would just be mean to people. I wanted people to fear me. I started putting on this persona I'm better than you, I'm tougher than you, you don't want to mess with me. Meanwhile, inside that wasn't me. And I didn't like being that person, but it's the only way I knew. First time I had to take a drink to fit in, I was in 8th grade. I remember drinking a beer for the first time, and some people say they have this effect, and they're this is my calling, you get that feeling. I can't say it was like that for me. I didn't like the taste at first. I didn't even get drunk the first time I had drank. It wasn't until a few times later that I started to get that feeling. And I didn't feel so scared to be in my own body anymore. As I got a little older, I started dating this kid, and he was into a certain type of pill that my mom happened to have. He linked up with my mom one day when I was at school, and he started selling them for my mom. I vividly remember at first watching him drooling and falling asleep in his food, and it just was very unattractive to me. And then one day I was just you know what, why not? Everyone around me seems to be loving this. I was 14 years old at the time. And that is when I had started with my opiates. Next thing you know, my mom gets Vicodins and Dilaudid and all sorts of pills. She's like a pharmacy. And next thing you know, I'm in her bag every day stealing them. Within a few months after taking my first shot of heroin, my whole life spiraled out of control. I was very dependent on my boyfriend at the time for me getting high. So when things started to not work out and I started just, stealing from people I loved and sleeping around and just doing all of the things that I never wanted to be, he started to pull back from me. So from there on out, I started being sick, and I started experiencing what that felt like for the first time since high school. When he was in detox, like I said, I started shooting up. And then, like I said, not too many months after that, my parents started to catch on. I went to my first detox center in Long Island, and I thought it was great. I got all these numbers in there. I was like, we're gonna stay sober for the rest of our lives. This is gonna be great. And then I come back out, and my boyfriend was still using. So of course I started using, and at this time, I started trying to please my parents. So I would have them take me to detox. The second they pulled off, I'd admit, my mom would sit there while I admitted, and the second they'd pull off, I would AMA right away. I'd have someone pick me up, I'd go get high the whole time, and when the 5 days was over, my parents would come back and pick me up at the door. I'd be standing there with all my stuff, and they didn't think anything of it. So I went to Las Vegas for a treatment center, and we'd all hopped the wall, gone on the strip, and went and got high. And then we came back, and our punishment was restarting us on our detox meds. So even up till then, I thought treatment was a joke. It wasn't taken seriously, it was about the money, and that was the impression that I was under. And then I had gone back there one more time, and then I flew back home. I met this kid in Vegas, and he told me about Prescott, Arizona. And he got me set up to a place to come out here. And so I got on a plane, I think that next week, and I came to Prescott. I had came to Prescott for the first time in April of 2015. I came here and I saw that people took sobriety seriously. There was a part of me that wanted that, but at the very beginning I wasn't sold on it. I wasn't sure that I wanted to stay sober. I just wanted to come out here, do my few months, and go back home. The program that I went through the first time when I came to town was very different than Granite Mountain. I got a lot out of that program. I really did. I learned a lot about myself. but that program does not work for everybody. In this town alone, I have had, I think, 11 attempts at getting sober. It took a long time for me to even be willing to want to like get long-term sobriety. But like I saw all these people having it and they seemed happy and like they had what I wanted. There was a part of that I wanted, even though I would never admit that to somebody. I wanted what they had. Showing up for people was never a thing for me. I didn't know what it looked like to have a true friend or to truly be there for somebody and like care about someone else's feelings. Granite Mountain has definitely taught me the most about not only myself, but like my self-esteem and my self-worth. None of it seemed like they were just doing it just because it was their job. Like they genuinely cared and like wanted the best for me. When Recover Strong at first came around and I was first exposed to that, I was not about it. I was like, I am not capable of doing all those burpees and air squats and all those weights, and that's just not something that's been me for years. And I was absolutely against it. Like I would not go. I finally got this turnaround where I like wanted to do things differently for the first time in a really long time. And Recover Strong truly makes me feel really empowered. In my head, I always tell myself like, you're not gonna finish this, you know? Like we're running a 400-meter run, like I'm just gonna run halfway. And Jason always tells us, you know, when your head's telling you to stop, push yourself for 2 more steps or just finish up. And so I do that. If it wasn't for people believing in me and and I could feel that vibe of them like truly caring and believing in me, I don't think I would have ever really felt the way I feel today about being sober. I could feel it in my gut that like I don't ever want to live that life again and that I am capable of long-term sobriety.